All right. Hey, everyone. Well, it's been a bit of time since I've been in this room, and it's really exciting to be back at the Writers' House and to see so many people here to hear undergraduates from across the colleges read poetry. This is a really special group to me because all of these students have taken my writing seminar over the years, and 4 of these students were in my class on Zoom in the spring, and we had never met in real life, and we started a thing called Poetry Club, and we invited Rima and Quinn, who are upperclassmen, to join so that students could get a sense of what poetry was really like at Penn, or get a sense that there was more than just my idea of poetry. So we were really glad that Quinn and Rima and a few other upperclassmen joined us occasionally. Quinn and the 4, Jack, Will, Megan, and Alex, really formed the core of the group, and they actually ended up making a zine named after one of Quinn's poems, large print poetry. And I can believe I'm holding a zine in my hand with poems by these poets, who I believe are some of the most exciting contemporary poets writing today. And they're right here. They're in your classes. They're eating food near you. There are a lot of ways to be a poet in the world. There are a lot of ways of being a poet and Penn, and I feel so honored to have been Zooming and workshopping with them during a time when so many of us felt so disconnected from so many things. And it was wonderful to have that extra connection to poetry. And yeah, I'm excited for these poems to not just be in my Google Drive folder and not just be on my screen being shared, but for these poems to be in this room where so many amazing poets have read before. And I'm excited. So our first reader is Jack. Each reader is going to come up and say a bit about themselves if they want, or just read their poems. Lots of ways of being a poet. There might even be some banter. I don't know. But we appreciate everyone here. And if anyone wants to, feelings, they are not static. This banner was made by Writers' House staffers who were undergraduates, Kenna O'Rourke and Maya Sharp, and it's still here. We'll put it back up because it makes the pictures look really nice. But yeah, the series is called Whenever We Feel Like It. I started it 14 years ago in Iowa City, and when I moved to Philly to work at the Writers' House, Jessica Lowenthal and Aaron Gauci and Al Thorreis were like, yeah, do it at Penn. And so I started doing it here, and We All Feel Like It were the events with undergraduates, and I'm glad that you guys feel like it. I'm glad to have your feelings in the room. I'm going to try to cry silently. It just feels so wonderful to be in a room doing this together. For me, you can feel differently, but I'm just really excited. So thank you everyone for coming, and I hope that we can all talk safely after the event, possibly outside. I don't know how Writers' House does it, but that's what we'll do. Thank you to everyone for coming. Jack.
Hi, everyone. Okay. And the feelings are gone. My name's Jack Starobin. My name's Jack Starobin. I'm a sophomore at Penn, and I will be reading 2 poems. This one's called The Asphalt Improvisation. Why do I hear my own footsteps in his trumpet drone? I've never breathed the floaters he calls home. Some resigned smoky notes allow themselves in stagnant clouds from singed pipes and taste unfamiliar. I can follow them through these tunnels, like his swinging melodies, trajectories, but I can't hear my heartbeat in my only chest. I'm hardly going deaf. There it is again. Metal creaking. People laughing, people leaking. I feel the nexus of my tension shift from strained forearms to groaning subways. My throat relaxes as I exhale alongside panting trash bags. Sweating fleas on a painted sidewalk, grinning in diagonal dignity as I hop off the second trolley I've ever ridden. I can't hear my feet hit the ground. A street horizons out to a red disc, a solo from some coast I've never seen, and suddenly I am more than in between. I'm neither smog nor suburbia, neither sunrise nor sea rise, neither alive nor dead. I am breath and sound, spilling forth with his horn, grinning like the sidewalk, thundering with the trolley, flaming like the sky over a city I hardly know. People are too small for any song to fit inside just one of us. My rage has steamed out of my veins and risen to electric rains above, bursting with the roar of life, the brooding insistence of distant warnings, the flash, the herald, the willingness to die, asphalt notes pouring from his horn like statued faces of trumpet stature. Vessels cannot contain me. Performative traces of his outline die again in rust, but those of us who become our thunderous performance never need to be reborn. Footsteps are melodies, neither yours nor mine. Love for me has wound into the solitary question, will I look a bullet in the eye? This second poem I wrote a week after that one. It is called Scrapbook of the Blind Photographer. He lost his sight 3 months before he died. In that final rage, he saw everything. Photography is subtraction, he once told his wife. He once snapped the world together, frame by frame, 5 cornstalk survivors in a mowed down field, the farmer's exhalation, the prophetic smile of a child looking up to a consuming black disk from her gravel feet. Viewfinder saved them. Sealed, secured, evacuated, tunneled through the carnage of the untold to light, ink, legacy. Photography is subtraction, he told his wife, and she told her grandson. 4 walls stand sentry between a woman who already knows and the unrecorded cry of her neighbor. Her smile is a murmur, but from that fortress she roars across the wilderness, swaying like a paper cornstalk. Survivor. Photography is subtraction, he told his wife, and she told her grandson, and I offer it to you. I look up now, and I see only the vacuous disk. And I breathe ragged, hunting for one more prophecy child to look into the void from gravel feet. But subtraction is lost. These borders can only tell us where we end. Keep us until we fade to ghosts of black and white boiled under sunny afternoons. My grandfather sees. The more he sees, the less he captures, until the pinprick of light on film is the final blink, the rock resting on the gravestone. One day, we will close our narrow eyes. In this moment, blind descends on my found sanctuary. The gray slate frees me from the cage. Next up is Will.
Hi everyone. I'm sitting because I've had a long day. Hi, I'm Will. I'm a sophomore in the college, and I'm originally from California. I wrote some banter on this notes app, so I'm going to use that. But basically, I was introduced to writing in 7th grade by my lit teacher, and she was showing us not only how to read short stories, but how to write our own. But that really didn't turn into anything until the senior year of high school. And the summer before senior year, I went to a writing camp at 4 Acres in Lewis and Clark with Yuj, who's in the audience today. And that was just amazing because I was introduced with great poets such as C.A. Conrad, who is from Philly. And I know, I was just so enamored by absurdism and Dada. But I think now more than ever, I'm learning more to ground my poems in more concrete things and not be as abstract. But so this first poem I'm going to read is one I wrote last semester. I chose it because it's short, but also because it references one of the first poems I wrote at Fur Acres that I was really proud of. So I guess it's a great place to begin. The title is My Fig Trees Turned to Pomegranates. Red, swollen by savoring, meditating absorption. You don't have to be good, bleeding, undo. I've been my high, satisfying peace and saved my figs. I'll toy and oil it, oil it, um. So the second poem is one I wrote for Poetry Club, and it was more in the later half. It's called Anti-Elegy, and I'm gonna be honest, I did not know what an elegy was. Instead, I had asked my friend what I should name this poem after he read it, and he said, you should name it an elegy, and I had to Google it. But luckily for me, according to Wikipedia, there is no good consensus of what an elegy actually is. So I think I'm using the title perfectly appropriately. Anti-elegy. What am I? The answer happens to be a pandemic. I scrambled, isolating and isolated, my agency like the endless Zoom calls. I am narcissist. I am Antigone. Is my difference so important, and my terror? It's not me the sunset pigs are shooting dead anyways. It's not me in the streets protesting too. I'm afraid. I love my country like I love my bedroom, my door, my gas mask, my riot shield. Yesterday, we went to the pier to watch the fireworks. Police lined the streets as the tired crowds swept back inland. They have guns, my mother said. The police are not our friends, I replied. At the end of the day, the gun is in their hands. Like a fucking dog, I want to shout. If I could change one thing about myself, I'd like to be more flexible. The imperceivable change of daily stretching is frustrating, and the common lapses of my dedication are heartbreaking. Humanity, we dream too big and let our friends fall to the trenches. You can't live on Mars alone, and you can't come back. You don't come back. Ecologically, one real utopia is enough, then collaboration exponentiates our efforts. During my year quarantined, I wrote more papers and read more books than I've ever. Only some of it is true. We all lost something or somebody, that's true too. We lose all the time, but some people lost much more than me. Yesterday, I thought I'd die in my sleep. I didn't. I crawl into the bathroom with my hands on the toilet bowl. I vomit bitter bile, wondering if life is any more than a dream where I drink till I die. Yes, it's both, I shout dumbly in my head. This last one is in the zine. There are no page numbers, so you're just gonna have to find it. But so I wanted to end on this one. It's called Ode to the Garden. And I think it might be one of my personal favorites that I've written this summer. And I've also been told by other people it's one of my better ones. So take what you will from that.
I'm a sophomore in Wharton studying behavioral economics and finance, which made me the token business student of the group. And I just would say, I never imagined myself doing poetry. Going to college, I thought, yeah, maybe I won't sell out to investment banking, but I didn't go all the way in the opposite direction into poetry. But the poetry workshop has meant a lot to me this summer. I've met and been able to keep so many amazing friends, worked with an amazing professor, and learned about how to write. So today I'm going to be reading 3 poems. The first one's in the zine, but I'm not going to tell you which one it is because I think it ruins the comedic effect. All right, this one, oh wait, I guess I am telling you what it is, but it's target audience acquired. Anime titties are the topic of conversation. I don't know how we got here. Don't look at me. I have no idea. She's a fictional character, but man, is she nice to look at. Top tier waifu material, if I do say so myself. Should I get a body pillow cover? Your character is poorly rendered. She's just a collection of pixels. I'm having a hard time meeting her eyes. What's below is just so distracting. Now, step aside, because the Bechdel test is never passed. But look, she has muscles and titties. She's so well-rounded, she's practically a circle. This is what a good female character looks like. A breakthrough for the new gen. You're just not the target audience. Go watch a romance instead. It's just part of the genre. This is how it is. Let me slide into your DMs and give you an entire essay on why it's just how it is. Hey, you got Snap? But oh, look at how they massacred my girl. This one is not in the zine, and it's titled The Nebula of Someday. Pick up the pace, little girl. Run, and now run faster. If you're going to get what you want, you're going to need to move faster. See them? See them sprinting, flying, sailing. You're not going to be able to keep up if you don't start running, little girl. You're not doing enough, I'm afraid. Your quads are burning, your hamstrings sting. That's too bad. I don't even know what those muscles mean. You're wasting precious time, sweetheart. I wish. A constant drumbeat to accompany the pounding of my feet against concrete. Am I moving quick enough for you yet? But the stars remain unmoved, stationary in the sky. Not quite, but close. You're getting there. Why go so fast when you don't know where you're going? Might want to figure that out, little girl. Someday is so nebulous, I think, and urgency is just so vague. But what else is there to chase? They told me to run, and I did. Okay, and my third and final one is in the zine. And this one is especially personal to me. As someone who is a Chinese American, I feel like this has been, as I've discussed with clubmates, that this is an experience that's really important to me. A sliding scale. My parents still refuse to buy Japanese cars. Perhaps a Honda Civic would get your money's worth. Maybe a Toyota would last longer than any other. A Nissan, the perfect addition to someone's home. But not ours. After all, no car of any price, longevity, or value will be worth more than what we've lost. The wind may blow softer if we talk about it. How does that make you feel? Is there something from your childhood that may make you react this way? No, I don't think so. I never knew, no one taught me, not until we bought a new car. The page is curiously, deliberately blank. Should I mourn? And maybe it's not rational, petty even. No Toyota sent out those marching orders. No Honda led the charge to Nanjing. No Nissan used a nation's women for comfort. But it's just a car. A 10-year investment weighed against several lifetimes of loss. The sun rises first in the east. Morning shines on the hood of a new car, but not here. Thank you all. Next up, please help me welcome Rima.
Can you hear me? Yes. So I'm reading two poems. The first one is inspired by a painting inspired by a song that was in an album. It's called Another Green World, after Brian Eno and Nicole Eisman. Divorced from the turbulent sensorium of activity, from the doing, the engaged, and the productive, from the laborers and their vows is another green world. Emerald, but not like the city, lime like leaves and peas, not the green of performative activism and plastic lawns, but a carousel of virescent vegetation that holds the same allegorical possibilities as a living room couch. Sleepy bodies, they leisure, they breathe to the beat, to that mint jungle that is just the sound of a salty viola. Ribbed tanks, multiplayer solo cups, ass cracks, and whole moon, they've yet not to be confused, spotting the messiah on the subway, whom they pinch to be sure it's really real, the raunchy, the lovely, the nauseous pears and the jaded jade, to sleep in the company of strange strangers, to share a balcony and a mossy cityscape. The radical ready-made that is a whole lot of life, a whole lot of time, too much to not do much, to be entirely futureless and wholly exempt from necessity. To not need to breathe, to eat, to find salvation in the sunscape. Pocket the ontological questions. For a precious moment, speak not of practicality and theoretically the myth-making that posits equilibrium, but is in fact a pyramidical prostration. Instead, ask for more touch, please, more senses, for a more complete experience, drip, drop, draping with each overlapping limb in pickled pistachio and crocodile shamrock shake. Another moonlight silhouette, another life on the horizon, another deeply amusing drunk text, another genre scene, another commitment to waste the rest of days. The next poem is also in the zine, if I can find it. This one is titled No, the Dreamscape. I'm really ambivalent about this title, so feel free to title it yourself. Sleep deprived and sun arised, I'm hungry for yesterday's weather, and to stay up all day, every day, the day away. Find your forages and recollect your memories. What did you do yesterday? How did yesterday smell, and can you still taste it? Walk backwards to trace your steps. Reverse the dirty dishes. Maze in and maze out again. Kill your plants by loving them to death. With breath like you forgot how to fly. Pillow your blankets and smother the light. To find old versions of yourself slumbering still. A fog descends over the bedroom. Translucent grayness and moral ambiguity overtake our island. I find my bed is too soft and the air is too heavy. A violet space made and unmade by me, and the pulsations of a heart attack. Thumping and bumping with consistent inconsistency. I've started speaking sentences that start with an I instead of a we. A you but not a yours. Dying in third person plural, please. Pluperfect, please. You. I. Us. No is the ice cube that melts in my mouth. A coldness, a nerveness, monosyllabic nepotism that makes you, my favorite. The malfeasance of linguistics, words that fraudulently award villainy. I find solace in the novelty of denial, which is, of course, the noblest of notions. I follow the nouns, but not nobody noticed. I notify the nocturnal contradiction. Is it refutation or fiction? Should I bombard you with the false glory of long words? What is the need to narrate the necessity of contextualization, discourse, authoriality, implications, examinations, when noticing the noise, noting its nuance, naming ends, is a more fulfilling activity? I move through the slippery surface of dissent. Noiselessly, I sink my anemic teeth into your no, not no now, but never. Next up is Alex.
Hello, I'm Alex. I'm a sophomore at Penn. I have 3 poems to read for you today. I hope you like them. The first is called Someday Poem. I wrote it last week. I'm also a young poet. Someday poem. Someday, I'll give you a music poem. No harp twangs, but stereo drums full of horns and blares, too slow, fast, and me to be a music poem. Someday, I'll give you a sound poem. No vowels, but only the tiptoe of air on your teeth. Sound of a scrape, sound of a scoop. Someday, I'll give you a missing poem. Geography will be bendable. The fictive treasure hunt is over, and you can revel in something lost. Someday, I will give you a lion growl poem, something deep inside you that reminds you of your mother's daily trip to the zoo, and memories of groans of young everyone, and life before education, and memories of innocuous intimacy, and old grandmother visits, and alive friends passing through memory, and generational pride, and even your own body, and the younger you, and what you had to offer. Thanks. My next poem is called 4 Words is Plenty, and it was inspired by, I believe, a Bob Kaufman poem I read in ModPo. 4 words is plenty. 4 words is plenty. Say what already said. Try to be new. Open crumpled papers and be bold in fonts. No stutter when speaking. Keeps you from seeing what's behind full sails. 4 words is. And my last poem is dedicated to my lovely girlfriend, who I hope is watching. It's called Our Separate Heats. On 40th Street, I feel restless. Phone in hand, I soldier past garbage cans, peeling street signs, and a yellow drink untouched. I am exasperated. I find it easier to take longer ways to work. Some days, your voice matches my steps as I jump across streets, twittering between white bars. I open up. What are we doing here? Lights always turning green and red. What am I doing here? I open my chest as the roll of cars thunder by, crane my neck behind to see you following. I took 2 suitcases to the city, and I don't need any more. Now we're talking breakfast, and I'm appropriately at the bakery. 5 dots remind me that we're apart by more than distance. Time's too late for summer rides and more picnics. Too late for doctor's appointments and ice cream dribbles. The heat is really oppressive today. I'm warming up now, and I'm reminded of our separate heats. Mine in Philadelphia, yours in New Haven. 2 heads nodding awake, bodies in between covers, streets, miles, hands. The line ends. Heat continues to heat and then cools. Our days march tirelessly on. We're alive, and that's what counts. I can feel your breath. I know what you look like when you are thinking. Thank you. Next up is the amazing Quinn.
Hi, I'm Quinn. I think poems are neat. Eating out of the hand. Ask mandated questions. Polyphonic news anchors small talking in the green room. Emailed by sentient couch advertising softness. Average time between instance of work and reward received. Training to read after learning to read. Now called by someone unknown in same area code. The impact of an object's presence upon the work as an attention funnel. Periodic checks. The ability to see if an email has been read, sender or receiver. Sorry, Michelle. Opening a just closed tab. The small shifts in the seasons noticed over many years. And this is in the zine. Both the next poems I'm going to read are in it. Do you anticipate living longer than the average life expectancy? I don't know how to say I don't want to watch footage of people leaving hospitals. I'm jealous. You assume that health is inevitable return. Get sick, pay, leave. The price of departure. Check the inside pockets of your bag and read the names of the dead from small laminated cards. Me, I put my laundry in a plastic bag that I took from my mother. Personal belongings. Name, room, length of stay unclear. While we habituate to most sensations, we become more sensitized to pain over time. So, a long disorder suggests entropy, but you learn to manage. 1 year and we can leave the house again, sure. My mother told me once that she was afraid she would lose her social security if she didn't go to the hospital often enough. What do you carry forward, and who helps you take it? Wake up. Look to see who died today. The privilege of forgetting and going back to normal is not reading the news or your texts, not answering the phone. It could be much worse. A phrase that is true and feels like stepping into thigh-high bog water. Mortality is relative, like the fabric of a death shroud. Today, I have lunch with a friend and am interrupted by startling realizations, such as I read my medical records like detective thrillers, such as I expect to lose everything I have due to a sudden and cataclysmic health event, but if I weren't born in my zip code, I'd already be dead. All right, this is large print poetry. You direct my eyes to the yellow door of the bookshop. Help me out without making it obvious. Pull me to the whoa, hey side, away from the car rushing down Market Street, if that's the street we're on. What? Some letters you recognize. You and I are here. How am I supposed to read that? I make magazines with size 10 font. They say, the old people can't read that. I say, great, I'm 80, have been since preschool. You want more small poems or a couple of large ones? There's no money in large print poetry, or nobody thinks about large print when line breaks are involved. I read an ebook, zoom, and damn, there goes my enjambment. Next, I try out conscious acknowledgement of the saccade movement of the eye, and damn, the car behind me looks like a blurry shape, and my eyes fucking burn, but only the normal amount. Thanks everybody for coming.
I just want to thank Kelly Writers House for always being here forever. Also to the readers in Poetry Club, also to the audience. There is poetry without an audience, but it's really nice to have an audience. Thanks to everyone for being here. If you're not on the Writers House listserv, now's probably the time to get on it, because this is just the tip of what we have here. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Oh, wait. Will is going to say something possibly about the zine, possibly unscripted banter.
Hi again. I just want to turn your attention to the last 2 pages of the zine where you see quiz time. So, as you can see, there is no written author of this poem or collection of poems because we collaborated on all 4 of them. But if you could, it would be really cool if you guys all tried and treated it like an actual quiz. And then, I don't know how I would do this, but I would like to see, like, photos of all your answers. But other than that, thank you for coming.